joining us now from Oslo in Norway on the line to discuss Abil's massive increase in shares priced yesterday and its decline again today. This roller coaster ride for African Bank is Kokkie Kooyman from Sim Global. Kokkie, there was a really good piece that you spoke to Bloomberg about, saying that Abil's future is now out of its own hands, that the control of its destiny has now departed, given that it got itself into so much trouble. But before we go into more detail in what you meant by that, with the share price retracing again today, would you think, have you got some buy orders in it, maybe R7.50 or R7.25 or even lower than that?
Yeah, sort of. One is very tempted to start buying African Bank at this level because if you look 2 years out or 3 years out, profitability should be back to where it was in 2012. It's actually fascinating. The net income of Abil was in 2012 3 billion rand. This year it could still be a loss of 4 billion. But then 2015 a profit possibly of 1 billion, and then 2015 3 billion. So 2015 finally back to where it was in 2012. But then in 2015, at that stage, it would be trading on a PE of 4.4. So that's 18 months out, and the return on equity should come back to 20-25%. But a lot depends on two things: whether they need further provision for bad debt, which is unlikely. I think they should have provided, unless the economy really deteriorates with the further strikes that we might be having. And then obviously what bondholders do in terms of whether now being junk status, what international bondholders or anybody who holds the bonds now, whether they will roll over the bonds when they mature. And so the fear now is, and that's why I said African Bank has lost control of its destiny. If its bondholders force it or don't renew, then they have to come for a rights issue. It's not in their hands anymore. And that's why the sale of Ellerine could possibly be a help, because it does take away a big drag on the profits.
What kind of debt is outstanding to bondholders?
Alec, the total debt outstanding now is, and I'm actually looking it up as we speak. I normally don't carry that right in my mind. But we're talking at about the interest payment at the moment is about 4.5 billion, and your total long-term funding is about 43 billion rand. So you're talking quite a large amount that needs to be funded. Now, one of the things Leon Kokkie has said he's going to try and do the management is to slow down the loan growth. Because as they slow down loan growth, remember they've got a very short book in terms of the maturity of the loans that they write. It's fairly short dated. So as they collect the old book, they get more cash in than they pay out. So there are a lot of levers that they are trying to pull. But remember, if you decrease your loan book, you're also decreasing your future profitability. So there are a lot of variables at play in terms of trying to reduce the amount of debt they need.
Just take us through the whole potential sale of Ellerines. How much might they realize from this, and who could the buyer be?
Yeah, a lot of speculators or press commentators have been speculating a tie-up with a furniture store. JD Group was mentioned quite a while ago. I must say, I just can't see that the competition board would easily allow that. There's also been talk of another retailer potentially, but furniture has been historically been a very volatile business, or very cyclical in terms of it does well when the economy does well, does very poorly when the economy deteriorates. So I don't think a normal retailer will try and complicate its business further. And I see a recent rumor linked now to Old Mutual. Now, Old Mutual has managed in its life the last 20 years, managed to do a number of amazing, stupid acquisitions. So this might be another one. It's based on the previous management of Old Mutual. They might look at this. I think and I hope the current management of Old Mutual will think twice about it. But it is appealing because it is the mass market. They are big in the mass market. They do have a lot of outlets. So there are a lot of synergies. Whether Old Mutual would do it as a standalone from Nedbank or whether they would do it, buy it within Nedbank, I don't know. And also don't know what the Reserve Bank, the bank regulator, would say, because I don't think it would want one insurer holding two banks. So, I think a lot of this is still speculation. If it was to sell Ellerines, it's unlikely to have much of an effect on its balance sheet because it's not likely to be able to sell it at a profit. But where it does help, the Ellerines operating loss is about 400 million rand a year. So that at least means that African Bank's income statement starts improving from here on. That drag on the earnings just falls away.
So it could be one of those Whitey Basson 1 rand for OK Bazaars deals, potentially, Kokkie.
Yeah, if it goes, it will go fairly cheap. But I think you need a Whitey Basson, with strong management skills who can get in there. Because remember, it's not as if Leon Kokkinis and his team haven't tried to turn this around from when they bought it from Eric Ellerine. So, you've had a lot of brains running at this. Admittedly, the economy almost, when African Bank bought Ellerine, it was almost at the end of the last economic cycle, and since then the economy has deteriorated, which, one must bear in mind. But it's not as if they haven't tried to turn this business around, to bring costs down. It's not an easy business.
I'd fancy the chances of Marcus Jooste and Klaus Down and the Undertakers. They've done a good job of getting bombed out businesses. But Kokkie, before we let you go, give us your insights into Alexander Forbes, a new listing that's, a listing that's coming back to the market. It is strange that they'd gone off and then come back again. Is it one that you'll be looking at closely?
Yeah. Is it Charlie Munger or Warren Buffett who always say that, be careful of IPOs when managements come to the market, because it means managements think they can get a good price for their business. They have been delisted for so long. It's not a business that really needs capital. So the only reason I can see them coming to the market now is that they think they can get a good price, which means that the buyer should beware. So it's not one that will be jumping up and down about, but conceptually it's a very good business because it's advisory, it doesn't need a lot of capital, it grows with the market. But then, the South African market, where the JSE is very expensive, there's not a lot of growth going forward. So, it's not as exciting as it would have been 10, 15 years ago when they had relatively small market share. So you're buying it at a fairly mature stage and most probably at a fairly good price.
Not jumping out at Kokkie Kooyman, that Alexander Forbes. I guess if that's the second time we've heard Charlie Munger's name being mentioned here. If you've never heard of him before, he is the vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway. Warren Buffett is very well known as the chairman, and they've been partners, business partners, not life partners, for the last 54 years. So if you've got a partner, well, maybe there's a message and a lesson in that for you as well. Kokkie Kooyman.